Mr. McKee, I will assert his right to counsel. I will assert his right to remain silent. And Mr. McKee believes that the most expeditious manner in which he may defend himself against the charges pending in Ohio and to plead not guilty would be to waive his right to an extradition hearing and to have a governor's warrant and to agree to his immediate transportation to Ohio.
That defendant is Dr. Michael McKee, the vascular surgeon who's accused of murdering Dr. Spencer and his wife Monique Tepe. He's been extradited back to Ohio. I want to show you his newest mugshot. There it is. He was booked in the Franklin County Jail. That's where Columbus, Ohio is. And he waived his right to an extradition hearing in Illinois, where he was picked up without incident. Investigators say that a vehicle registered to him is linked to the crime scene, the area of the home where this beautiful couple was living. Police also say that Dr. McKee had a gun that they found in his condo that has been preliminarily matched to the homicides. Now, he's pleading not guilty. But what does the evidence show? Let's talk about that. Let's bring back in attorney John Phillips and welcome in retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindeffer. Jen, I'll start with you, please. As you've been digging in to this case from the outset, tell us some of the things that are most astounding to you that you're learning as you dig more and more into the facts of the case.
Well, the number one thing, the biggest fact is he is at the scene with that video of him in the alley. You always want to see if there's independent information that puts the perpetrator at the scene of a murder, and there you have it right there. Not only that, you mentioned it, they've connected his vehicle to it. And now I think one of the biggest thing that's coming forward is the motive. It doesn't have to be proven, but every jury wants to understand why, after 9 years, why this ex-husband would want to commit this crime. And now we're finding out about past abuses and abusive behavior.
You know, that was something that I think many of us thought about. We talked about it a lot on this show, whether there was a history with him and Monique Tepe. And tell us, Jen, looking at the divorce documents, we really don't see anything that's there that jumps out at you. But, you know, in your experience, not everything on paper in a filing is necessarily true.
That's true, Julie, but I tell you something that did jump off the page was a 7-month marriage. That always tells me there was something that made this person get out of that marriage very quickly. Somebody who seems very, stable. And why would that, what would cause that? The other thing that jumped off the page to me was it took almost another 1.5 years for it to be finalized. And that usually tells me there's a big rub with somebody not wanting to let go.
Yeah, great points, Jen. John Phillips, I want to pick your brain about some of the legal things going on. He's pleading not guilty. And for folks who may be unfamiliar with the criminal system, that may sound kind of stunning based on the evidence that we've seen reported so far that police have found things Jen just noted moments ago. Is it that stunning that he's pleading not guilty? What do you say, John?
I don't know what else anybody reasonably would do. You know, the state has to prove their case. In the federal government, whomever on the criminal side has to prove their case. So unless you're caught red-handed and given a deal, I would always say, you know, hold on to the Fifth Amendment for as long as you can and plead not guilty and let the discovery process sort it out, at least initially.
Yes, and you said the D word, deal, John. I want to ask you about that. If you're his lawyer, based on what you know so far about ballistics matching, the video evidence, the history with Monique Tepe, we have a tie, these two were married. Might you be asking for a deal right now behind the scenes, begging for some kind of deal? We know Ohio is a death penalty state, so we know that could come for him.
The problem is, and I love negotiation, criminal cases, civil cases, but if your attorney's like, hey, can we make a deal? That is coming from a sign of weakness, and it signals to the prosecutor, okay, yeah, we do have their pulse. We got them. Their blood pressure's high. Let's dig in. But there's always times to be like, look, I'm better than this, but what are you offering? that you sometimes see. I'm the key. I'm like known for saying things I shouldn't say, but like when they put his mugshot up, I like, whoa, like this guy has that, that literal blockhead that I'm not going to say looks guilty, because that would be terrible to say, but come on.
John Phillips, we love you. We love you on this show. You never hold back. You're always entertaining. He's cloaked in the presumption of innocence. He's got that chilling mugshot. It is chilling. It's scary looking. It's very scary. And here, this is a guy who seems to be normal, right? I think this is one of the most stunning things about it. Is he a murderer? Don't know. Columbus police say he is. Don't know. Jennifer Coffindeffer, I want to turn to you now. Let's look at his Bumble profile and look through this as an investigator would. So he calls himself Mike. He shares pictures of him and his friends. He's traveling. His work as a surgeon. He seems to be kind of a popular guy. He says that he's lucky to find his work as a vascular surgeon meaningful. He also likes art, design, basketball, football, skiing. Also currently trying hot yoga. Nothing wrong with that. Says someday he wants children. He seems normal, Jennifer Coffindeffer. He seems normal. What do you think when you look at this and you look at the facts?
Well, look, he is normal in those regards, but what was not normal about him was he could not let go of resentment and hate for his ex-wife, Monique Tepe. I mean, very specifically, she was leading the life he had only hoped to have and have it with her. This reminds me so much of the Betty Broderick case, where you have somebody fuming for over 4 years, and then they go in and commit almost this exact same style, asleep in bed, kill them both. This reminds me of that hate that you see. I don't know if we're going to get to hear his hate like we heard with Betty Broderick, but I think it's the exact same mentality.
Oh, I'm sure our Cordies listening at home are thinking the same thing, Jen. Thank you for that. I want to mention the U.S. Sun provided those photos that we showed, so we want to credit them that were released on his Bumble profile. So I want to make mention the U.S. Sun pulled all of those that we just showed. John, I want to ask you, so the normalcy that seems to be going on with this life and the amount of time from the separation with him and Monique Tepe to the time of the incident in question, are those things favorable for the defense?
I think so. I think that's the main core defense, that he was over this. He had moved on. He was on Bumble. He was living his life. He was a proud, vascular surgeon and build that up. But to Special Agent Coffindoffer's point, it's the success of the other spouse. It's the ability of the other spouse to move on and adapt that haunts some people with narcissistic traits, that haunts some people and makes them continue to spew venom, stalk you, just try to bring you down. Now, it shouldn't result in murder. How many divorces leading to murder are we talking about these days? But, it cuts both ways in some instances. But the state has an uphill battle in showing that that's what this was, that before the murder, there was some obsession.
Definitely, John. And dovetailing off of that point, which I think it's so important that we have these conversations. And you both know, you're on the show regularly. We always like to talk about subjects that are tough to breach, like domestic violence and how many people are affected. Primarily women are affected. That's what the statistics show us. And we always say the most dangerous time for a woman is when she leaves. That is true. Statistics tell us that. However, Jen, this case really seems to perhaps be an example that abuse after departure can still happen any time if you have a situation involving a domestic violence dynamic, which may be what happened here. Would you speak to that, please?
Yeah, no, exactly. And what individuals need to be aware of are those telltale signs. When somebody just doesn't leave you alone, sending birthday cards, reaching out, harassing you in any sort of way, that's when you can tell, listen, this is not going in the right direction and you have to pay special attention.
Yeah, you're right. Stay safe. Stay safe. Jen Coffindeffer, thank you so much for making the time to join us. We'll see you soon. John Phillips is coming with us. Friends at home, do the same. Get another